Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ask Anything presented by Moser Consulting. I'm your host, Angel Leon, Moser's Director of Personnel. We're thrilled to have you with us today because this episode is all about marketing. And with me today is literally the whole Moser Consulting marketing team.
I brought backup.
He brought company today from his marketing friends because today we're going to be talking about marketing services. And with the aforementioned producer Brian accompanying us today are Malinda Lowder, the mother of our podcast and our Director of Marketing and Sales here at Moser Consulting.
Hello, it's good to be here with everybody today.
We also have Janelle, Shideler, and Jade, Layman, our graphic designers, and Latisha, Tish, Guinn, our marketing coordinator. Guys, welcome back to Ask Anything. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having us. We were very excited. Everyone was thrilled to be here.
So you might remember this marketing team because we were together back late last year, if I remember correctly. We had a great episode on one of our favorite topics, just drinks.
I think it was about drink. I think it was about cocktails. I'm pretty sure it was in the fall. So that's coming up. I'm just saying. Pretty sure it was Beaujolais Nouveau season. So was that fall?
It was holiday drink.
Yeah, it was holiday drinks. Yeah.
So yeah, and there are so many more options to explore.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to do one on rum. I think that would be great.
Just on rum?
Just on rum.
I was thinking we should just do it on every holiday. Let's think of it that way.
Yeah.
What are your favorite Arbor Day drinks?
Exactly. What's coming up next?
I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves and talk about a little bit about their marketing experience, what they do currently at Moser. So let's start with the mother of the podcast, Malinda.
Hi, Malinda Lowder. So I've been with Moser for 10 years, but I've worked in marketing for 30 years. That's all I'll claim. Maybe a little more than that, but we're just going to keep my age right there in your minds. Yeah, I've worked in all kinds of marketing. I've worked at a retail store and sports marketing, nonprofits. I've worked all over the place. And so I kind of landed here at Moser doing this business to business marketing. And it's been a lot of fun.
I'm Janelle Shideler. I've been with Moser for over 2 years now. But like Malinda, I do have some years of experience before this. I probably have about 20-ish years. I started out with a business degree and then went right into graphic design after graduation. I'm not sure how that happened, but I have worked mostly in corporate marketing at publishing companies, ad agencies, accounting firms, real estate agency, engineering firm. I worked at the Children's Museum for a year, and I've kind of been all over the place, but it's all basically been the same type of corporate marketing, just different companies every year. But I will say that working at Moser has given me the most experience and with some of the most talented people that I've ever worked with. So
Thank you.
Finally here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jade Layman. I've been with Moser for 2 years now, going on 3. It'll be 3 next February, which is very exciting. I'm kind of the baby of the group. I'm really early in my career. I have 3 years of work experience. Before I was at Moser, I was doing graphic design for a separate company, doing a lot of like social media and ads, very similar to what I'm doing now. And I really do a little bit of everything. I'm kind of a jack of all trades sort of girl. I do like digital stuff, like social media ads. I do print, like white papers, banners, that sort of stuff, even do like web design, dabble a little bit in coding. So I really have a little bit of experience in all areas. And surprisingly, my wide range of knowledge, even limited knowledge, has helped me a lot with this job and in other areas.
So yes, I am Latisha Guinn. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually Latisha Guinn, but I love the name Latisha, so I claim it. I have been with Moser since June of 2022. I am the marketing coordinator. And I actually am a lot like Jade, where I do a lot of different things, but So I'll do campaign coordination. I'll help plan, execute, and monitor it to make sure that everything goes the way that it's supposed to. And, we get our content out when it's supposed to go out, and just a lot of planning as far as our cadence of things and whatnot. I also do a little bit of content creation, and AI has definitely helped a lot with just being able to, make sure we get really good content. And then if I can't ask an expert on certain things, then, AI will give me a lot of research that I can do and where to go and stuff like that. I also help with event and conference coordinating, planning. A little bit later, we have an event in Indiana, Northern Indiana, that we're putting on. And so I'll talk to our vendors and I'll talk to our internal people to make sure that everything comes together when it's supposed to, and everybody has what they need to make the event go well. Also, we, as Moser, will go to conferences and just basically display what we can do and let people know about our company and show them how we can help them. And those are a lot of fun because we get to go all around the country to talk to people about Moser. I also do the podcast coordination. So, planning the content that we're going to talk about, who we're going to talk to, getting them scheduled, making sure that they're ready for the podcast and that they have everything that they need, and making sure that Brian and Angel have everything they need.
Tish tells us where to be and when, and it's
Yes.
greatly appreciated because I very
Yes.
rarely know where I am or what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, but it's been great working with you guys. You guys are easy to work with, and that's one thing that I would say as a team, we do really well together. Like, all of us just work together really well. And especially in corporate America, that's hard to come by. It really is, because to work with 6 different people and to have great cohesion, that's something that's tough, but we do it well. And then the last thing that I do is internal and external tickets. So we have clients that are in Moser, and then we have clients that are outside of Moser. So just talking with them as far as what is it that they need, get it to our graphic designers, what is it that our graphic designers need, and get it to our client, So it's just a lot of communication, but I love it because I get to work with so many different people, and my day is never the same, ever. And so having a background as a firefighter, as a police officer, as a real estate agent, it really molded me for this position to be able to get along with anyone and work with anyone to get any task done.
My fast resume version. This is my 26th year of writing, producing, working in creative ways in advertising and marketing. I've worked at ad agencies and I've worked in marketing departments of private companies. I've been at Moser for 4 years. I'm the multimedia specialist, so I do all of our video, photography, and audio work for podcasts, for training videos, for marketing videos, for particular segments of Moser's business, for products and our learning division, and the podcast, which is one of my favorite things because I get to talk to so many different interesting people who know things that I don't know.
All right. So from what I heard here, we have close to 100 years of experience here in marketing. So just to summarize all that, close to 100 years of experience. So I'd say you guys, for those of you listening and watching on YouTube, so thanks for watching. We are in for a lot of fun today. So let's start with, what is marketing? I mean, that is a term that I feel everybody can relate to, but maybe not everybody understands what it really is. So what is marketing really?
I have a lot of opinions about this. So, in a lot of ways, marketing and advertising are kind of used. They're swapped out pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you talk about marketing, a lot of times people are talking about advertising. Advertising is very specific though, but it's kind of an older term. But one of my favorite sayings, and I misquote this all the time, but the basics are the same, was from a very long time ago. It was Henry Ford. People don't think of Henry Ford as a marketer or as an advertiser. My favorite saying that he ever said was, "A man who stops advertising to save money is like a man who stops a clock to save time." In business, it is absolutely essential to all the time be managing your marketing, your advertising. He believed in that. And I believe in that. I think a lot of times, a lot of us know, a lot of us on this call have been in the industry a long time. And we know we all get nervous when hard times come on a company because the marketing people are usually the first ones cut, right? But like, that's so illogical when you think about the amount of effort it takes to stay ahead of your competition, to stay in front of your clients, but also not just to do that, but to do it efficiently and to manage that, right? To not waste money, to report back on your return on your investment of your marketing and all of those things. So really, to me, it's about, you have this great business, you have this great product, you have this great thing. You could have the best thing, but if you don't put yourself out there and advertise and market, no one's going to know about it. And you could very well fail even if you have the best product. So I think it's absolutely essential. I think that there's a lot of it being done really well out there. I think there's a lot of potential to do more with a lot of companies. So I'll kind of give it over to the team a little bit there. That's my spiel about it.
I will say, when I first started in the industry, the internet and social media weren't created. So now that we do have those platforms available to us to market the companies that we work for, I think our roles are even more important than they ever have been, because there's so many more different ways to present yourself to a customer or a client. And I think there's just, I'm learning new things every day. There's always something different to be done and different ways to promote everything that we do. So that's really changed, I think, since we started working however many years ago, 20
Yeah,
years
and I think the thing to remember is that like all marketing is personal. Every bit of marketing is personal. Even a Coca-Cola ad that is seen by millions, even billions of people, you think of that as being very detached, right? But it's still very personal. They put something very emotional in there for you to have a personal connection to. You think about the little polar bears that Coca-Cola did. And I mean, they're so cute and you have an emotional reaction to them, and the little bear with its little mom. And it evokes an emotion that you feel personally. And then you attach that emotion to that product, right? I think when it gets detached is where it starts failing. I think it has to be personal. It has to evoke something that's inside of you for it to really work. And I think it's all advertising is local at the end, even if it's a national thing. It all ends up being local and it ends up being personal. And I think that's when it works the best. I know one time I was in college and I was on this board that helped promote events at the college. And the School of Nursing came to us and was like, I think it was a School of Business, and they were having a panel discussion, but it was about policies in medicine that were upcoming, right? And they came to us and they were like, nobody comes to these talks. Nobody comes to these talks. We can't get anybody to come to these talks ever. So, and I was like, well, okay, what do you do to promote it? And they're like, well, we put up signs in the School of Business, because it was like a business panel, but they were talking about a medical thing. So I said, well, let's try something different. So we made flyers for it, and we went to the School of Nursing, because they're a huge School of Nursing, and it was about a medical thing that they were doing the panel. So we went to the School of Nursing, we gave them to all the professors. We put it up in every thing, and it was absolutely full. The room was full because this affected those people, right? The decisions on the medical panel, the things they were talking about, and insurance and things like that, affect people who are going into nursing. So, you made it personal to them, you reached them where they were, reach people where they're at. You just got to think about things in different ways. And that's what creative people are good at, luckily.
Yeah, to Janelle's point, with the internet and social media nowadays, it is so much easier to get your messaging out. But at the same time, that means that unless you are measured, deliberate with your efforts and your messaging, it's also easier than ever to completely waste your time, your money, your effort, like all of your resources in something that's not going to work.
I think also that marketing, or even just putting yourself out into the digital space in general, is almost like legitimizing you or your company, because growing up, mostly with the internet, applying to like jobs or like companies or even researching different companies, if you did not have any social media presence or even a website, I kind of believed like you were not real. So I think that's why it's so important to market in this digital space, but it also has, many challenges as well, because the digital space is like constantly changing and there's so many people now. So trying to break through that white noise can also be difficult as well. But again, that's why marketing is important.
I think you just said something, Jade, that kind of goes back to what Malinda said earlier about all marketing is personal. Because I think now more than ever, as you said, if you're coming up in this world, like my son is currently studying to be a graphic designer, like you and Janelle. One of the things that I told him to start doing is, you got to start, as you said, start your website, start putting these things away, because these are the things that are going to define you to some employer at some point. And it's unlike maybe 20 or 30 years ago, where a lot of the people had just these giant pads where they design stuff. And so instead of putting a portfolio together on paper and then presenting it at a job interview, now you have your website. And most jobs that you see nowadays for a graphic designer or anything marketing related is going to ask you, do you have a website with a portfolio? Mm-hmm. So for someone who's looking for a job in marketing, that's the personal side. Now, obviously with the branding, as Malinda said, it's still going to be personal. It's still going to be something that it's probably relatable to that person that's starting that marketing, and that whether it's national or local, it's still going to be a personal touch to that person. So that's the way I see it. So let's talk a little bit. We've been talking a little bit about this next question. So this kind of segues nicely into the next topic. Why is marketing important? How can it help attract customers, increase brand awareness, and all that good stuff that you guys really do?
Well, it's funny. You actually started to answer it, right when you were talking about your son, and marketing is a part of everything. I mean, you think about your son as he grows up, he's going to have to market himself to future jobs. He's going to have to show, how are you able to work with people? How are you able to do different tasks? Can you learn quickly? Because almost in every job, you can get hired for something, and then eventually you have to add tools to your toolbox and be able to do more. There are so many great companies out there that nobody knows about. And it's because they don't market, or they don't market well. And so it's very important as far as like brand awareness, because if you think of Mint Mobile, they started back in.
They're no sponsors, but call us.
No sponsors. They get sponsors if they want.
Yes.
But it's amazing because nobody know that they started in 2016, but now everybody knows about them, right? And they're this small company that is now blowing up because they found the right person to talk on their commercials, and it's something that is totally different from what everyone else is doing, and that's a huge part of what marketing does.
Even if you don't think you're marketing, because everything your company does is marketing, even if you're not trying. And if you're doing the wrong things, you are marketing, you're just marketing in the wrong direction. I think you just have to be aware. You have to think about everything you're doing. We move in a lot of directions in our marketing department. Like, we have internal marketing. We do marketing just to our employees about different topics and about things that we all do together. And, that's all internal marketing. And I've heard more and more people in the last few years. I just had a conversation the other night with some people about internal marketing, and they were saying how important that's becoming. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's been an entire leg of our marketing for years, is marketing to our own people. And then you have external marketing, which is just so much. I mean, I can't tell you how many people come here to work, and they're like, before they come to the first interview, they're like, I checked out all of your social media, I checked out your website, I checked you out on these sites, I talked to people who I know have worked there, or that I found on LinkedIn who've worked there, anything like that. It's everything you do, everything that your company's name is attached to in the marketplace, every deal that goes wrong, every deal that goes right, it all goes into your brand. And really, that's what you're marketing, is your brand, whatever your brand is. So it's whether you think you're doing it or not, you are doing it. And if you don't think you're doing it, you need to pay attention to how it's actually happening.
It drives sales. because you're attracting new customers, and it's about keeping the ones that you already have. You know, we will send out emails to our customers just so that we're on the top of their mind. They're constantly seeing Moser, whether it's, you know, on the internet, whether it's in email, or however it is that we can get our name in front of them, just so we remain on top of their minds, because you want to keep the customers that you already have, but you also want to remind them about you so that they tell their friends about you. You know,
Yeah.
so you just keep your name out there.
One of the forgotten things about marketing is something that you mentioned, Malinda, is the internal marketing. A lot of places probably don't do a good job about that internally within their companies. And so can you just speak a little bit more about that, just how important that is? Because obviously, like Tish was saying, as a business, you're wanting to be top of mind for your clients, but then internally, how do you continue to focus on that and just making sure that we are also top of mind for our people?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would estimate that probably at least 25 or 30% of our marketing efforts go towards marketing to people who already work for us, just to keep them engaged, to keep them happy, to keep the culture alive, to keep all of that. A large percentage of our efforts go towards that. I just think it's insanely important. I don't want to be one of those companies where you hire people and then you forget about them. That's just not what I think is cool. You have to do something to keep that culture alive. People often say culture, you know, if it's a good culture, it just happens. You can't force it. And I do agree, you can't force it, but you have to enable it to happen. You have to give it a space to happen, right? And putting effort of your people towards that, it works towards that, and it enables it to grow. You know, you're not going to get a good yield from a field unless you till it and put fertilizer in it and make the soil good for it to grow. I mean, at Moser, we do a lot of, we encourage feedback. We have forums where people can submit feedback. We love hearing from people, and we have anonymous forms if they don't want their name to be attached to it, but they just want to give information. So I once worked at a company where they did not want information from their employees. They did not want feedback. They did not, you do it the way we tell you to do it, we're done. And that's how it is. And just to put an explanation point on that, they had a suggestion box for people to put in suggestions. It was on an I-beam that was about 30 yards out over a 4-story entryway. So you could see it when you walked by on the catwalk, and you couldn't get to it unless you actually opened the gate, walked on a catwalk across an I-beam with nothing around you to get out there. And it said, CEO suggestion box. Put your suggestions here. So I mean, the clear thing was we don't want your suggestions. And it was a joke, but it was how it was. It was quite clear. You just do your job and you go home. You know, you got to be careful about stuff like that. And that's not the type of company I want to work for. I did not work there for a long time. It's that type of thing that it creates toxic cultures, and that's not where I want to work. But that's why I just think, again, you just have to cultivate it. You have to create an atmosphere. You have to always be telling your internal people, make things easier for them.
Right.
At Moser, we spend a lot of effort making an internal dashboard page where all of the links everybody needs are in one place. And, you know, we could have spent that time and that effort doing something to attract external clients, but it made everybody's life so much easier here to have the dashboard to go to. And we hear that all the time. Oh my God, I love the dashboard. Thank God for the dashboard. It's everything is there, and we send people to it all the time. So all of those efforts, I don't think they're wasted at all. I think that it should be reasonable to do those things and to expect the marketing team or whatever team is assigned those tasks to spend a lot of time internally.
It's super important to engage with people, you know, and like Malinda said, internally and externally. Our designers will create these awesome things that catch your eye, because it's super important to catch people's eye. Because like Jade said, there's a lot of white noise out there. And so, you know, with great graphic designers, they can put things together that make people like, oh, wow, that's either beautiful or that's super weird. And what is it talking
like
about?
that recent
you know?
photo shoot that Brian and I did. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
That was fun.
All hell was beautiful, and I'm super weird, so it worked out.
Yeah, the pictures that we took of you guys about season 8 of the podcast, that got so much traction. people loved it. And that's really what it's about. It's about, getting people to look at whatever it is that you're trying to sell or whatever it is that you're trying to get people to buy. It's very important.
It's cutting through that white noise that you were talking about. It's removing obstacles and hurdles between people that have a message and their audience. How do you cut through? And our delivery mechanisms are easier and more varied than they've ever been now with digital and social media. But it all comes back to, what is your idea? What's your message? And what's the idea behind it? And what's the idea to get it in front of the eyes and into the brains of the people that you want to hear it? And that's where we come in.
And speaking of how we come in, another great segue. I must be working with marketing people. Let's dive into how Moser can help your business. So how can we help your business? Because our marketing team is not just Moser's marketing team. It could be yours as well. So how can Moser's marketing team help a business?
And that's what we started learning, is that, Moser is an IT consulting company. So we work with a lot of different types of businesses, right? We work with logistics companies. We work with healthcare companies of all different sizes too. We work with from very small companies. I mean, sometimes even, 20 to 50 people. And we also work with very large companies, like enterprise level, thousands of employees across the country. These are all companies we work with. But we kind of started realizing and getting requests from some of our clients who were like, you guys do a really good job of your social media. You guys have a lot of stuff out there. You're always on all of these topics and all these areas. You're putting out great thought leadership content. Can you help us with that? Because we need help with that too. And so we kind of went, maybe. I mean, what would that look like if our marketing team also did work for some of our clients? And so we took on a few of our clients who had some needs, doing some like graphic design. Definitely a lot of people, some companies don't have a lot of on-prem graphic designers, or have some that are overworked, or even when they go on vacation or something like that. So we've done graphic design work for different clients. Search engine optimization, which is a passion of mine, that wasn't even a thing. I remember the first time I ever saw a website in 1994. It was interesting. It took it 20 minutes to load the page. 20 minutes. I sit there and waited because I wanted to see it so badly. And it was just like a line at a time coming across. And then I remember it was a few years later, I made my first website. I made it in Microsoft Word and then exported it as HTML. And it was really terrible, but that was a long time ago. We've come a long way, but it's just come so far in just like 20 years, website design and search engine optimization. And what I started to realize is I'm not going to mention clients either, but a client came to us and was like, well, the people who set up our website did all that. They did all the search engine optimization for us. I'm like, okay, what did they do? And they're like, I don't know, they did it. It's optimized, right? I'm like, okay, well, what are your keywords you're going after? I can tell you how you're performing on those. I don't know. I don't know what the keywords are that they went for. I'm like, what about your off-page SEO? Did you take control of your Google profile? Like, I don't think so. I don't even know what that is. So a lot of companies are going to clients or to other companies and saying, oh, we'll do this for you, this SEO, or we'll do it as a part of your web design. And they're not doing it, or they're not doing it well. And they're definitely not teaching the client how to maintain it themselves and keep that going. So I think there's a lot of really sketchy business in that area of marketing right now, that search engine optimization area, even the website design area. I think it could help a lot of businesses to do that well, especially a lot of local businesses, brick and mortar businesses. Google has made it really easy now for them, if you have somebody who knows what they're doing, to target in on their audiences and their keywords and really help their web presence grow. The saddest thing for me to see is when somebody makes a great website or has a great website done and then doesn't promote it at all, doesn't do ads, doesn't do search engine optimization, and they get no visitors and they get no business. And you see these little businesses fail, and I just want to reach out to them and be like, let me just give you 2 quick things to do that's going to help your website and your business, because there is some things you could do. There's larger things you could do, but there's quick things you could do too. And I feel like people are getting taken advantage of a lot right now. And there's companies that'll come and promise you for $99, I'll get you ranked number 1 on Google. I'm like, ranked number 1 for what? The most important thing is to figure out what you want to be ranked for. I mean, they could take you and get you ranked number 1 for flower picking, but if that's not what your business is, it's not going to help you. So I'm going off my soapbox now, but search engine optimization is something we've been doing for a lot of clients and really helping them out with that. And I like that a lot. And I'm really into that right now. But yeah, again, we do logo design, graphic design, website creation, small websites. We have an entire division at Moser that does enterprise level websites and apps. And obviously those are very complicated. But our marketing team also does small marketing sites and marketing microsites that can tag onto a company's main website or be a very small company's main website and help them out with that. And then obviously I'll let Brian talk about all the video stuff we do because we have so many options and so many companies need help with video content right now because really video and audio content on the internet is how things are going.
We produce podcasts all the time internally. We connect with some of our external clients or even experts outside Moser who have these areas of expertise that we explore with them. I'd say probably 30% of our episodes since we started the podcast are with folks that are either peripherally or unaffiliated, even officially with Moser. They're just really interesting people that have this very deep level of knowledge about something that we find interesting. So we bring that to light in these episodes. So, I mean, we can talk to various companies, C-suite on down, about what it is that they do, why they do it, their belief systems, what they believe their company culture to be, those kinds of things. I do training videos for people, marketing videos, specific tasks or products.
And like I said, video is the wave of the future. When I was building the marketing team, well, the first thing I wanted was a graphic designer because I was like, I was a graphic designer before and I couldn't do it anymore. I was managing all the marketing. So I needed somebody to do that because I believe the image is absolutely important and you have to put your image into everything. But after that, second was a videographer. I was like, I need it. We need a podcast. We need videos. This is the wave of the future. Everything is going to video. It's going to audio. But, I find that the graphic design is absolutely folded into all of that too. We have graphics panels on all of our videos, all of it works together, but I really needed to have both. And then after that, I needed a marketing coordinator because I couldn't handle it all anymore. And that's where Tish came in.
Let me just have to say, our graphic designers are stinking amazing. I mean, like every time we have a new project, I can't wait to see what they come up with, right? Because I do not have, one, the artistic ability, nor do I have the imagination to come up with half the stuff that they come up with. And I'm just like, it blows my mind. Because I'm like, how did you do something completely different that's somewhat of the same project, but they just come up with this stuff? And I'm like, I'm mesmerized. Like Janelle always gets mad at me because she's like, don't let your expectations be too high. But it's just because she doesn't know how great that she is at what she does. And so it's just really cool to look at all the things that they come up with and how different they are. Like Jade made our Cortec website. And when I look at it, I'm like, wow, I would have never come up with that, because a lot of people, they'll have their nephew design their website and it looks like trash. It's not fundamentally put together. It's hard to navigate. You can't find anything. And then it's not appealing to look at, but our designers can put it together and create it in a way that it looks phenomenal. It's easy to navigate and they know when they want to do something, they know where to go and how to do it.
Yeah. And I've said this many times and they're all tired of me saying it, but I mean, I've worked with a lot of different creative people. I've worked on a lot of different teams, a lot of different companies, but this is the most creative and the best marketing creative team I have ever worked with in my life. And I'm not saying that because I hired them all. They're
You did a great job.
Good choices.
Sort of, kind of, yeah.
But they're just the most creative team. They make the best content I've ever seen put out. And it's just the truth.
It's not just great looking design, it's functional. Like it's usable,
Yeah.
it's accessible, and it's intuitive. The things that they create, draw you in. But then once you're drawn in, you're not lost within it. You know what you need to do within it. You need, the messaging
Functional.
is there. It's functional. Yeah.
Well, I think it's really interesting to look at Jade and I as your designers because our background, our experience, our education is so different. And I feel like we work well together because our designs are, pretty diverse, and we do a lot of times bounce ideas off of each other, and it's an interesting dynamic. I'm twice as old as Jade, and I'm not, too proud to admit that, but
Well, that's because
I've
Jade
never
is 15 years old.
exactly. I've never worked with another designer that has been as creative as Jade, and I've worked in a lot of different places with a lot of different types of people, but just when we're working together, you can tell that even though we're so different, that we can really come together and work together. And I'm always impressed by what Jade creates. And I think as a designer, I think it makes me want to be more creative, or I look at things differently. This is the most creative I've been able to be as a designer. I've had the most freedom creatively in this job than I ever have. And so sometimes I kind of hold back a little bit, but when I look at Jade's work, I think, oh, like I'll try that. I can do that. And so I think we kind of push each other to be better designers. It's been really great for my my design career, actually.
Oh yeah, I agree like 1,000%. It's like great working with you too, Janelle, because even though we are different, I think our differences like complement each other because
Yeah.
we have like different strengths and weaknesses. So I feel like in some areas when I'm a little weaker, you're stronger. So I like to look at your stuff and be like, let's see what Janelle's doing. And that like inspires me to do better. I'm like, oh, like what is she doing? How can I like sort of like mimic what she's doing, but also do it in my own way,
Right.
So I agree. I think we work so well together. And your work is always like amazing. I know you always say like it's fine, it's fine. It's like okay, but no, it's like really, really good. Really good,
So-
especially the work you've done for our clients. It's been really good. And I know that has been a new area for you and a new experience, but you've been doing really well at
I
it.
think our clients are very lucky to have both of us.
I agree.
I agree.
And not just the clients. Going back to Malinda's just unbelievable ability to choose fantastic people. As a new manager of the team, the secret sauce is get people who are really good at what they do, who are passionate about what they do, and that aren't jerks. Like, who
That's
knew,
funny
who
you
knew the
said that.
recipe was that simple?
Yeah, that's
I was
a good
listening to a
ingredient.
marketing
Yeah.
leadership podcast I think it was last night, and they said they had this guy for his work, he has a no jerk policy. He won't work for jerk clients. He won't hire jerk people.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's fair. I don't think I've ever put it in words, but I think I have a no jerk policy.
So I have a question about the tools that Janelle and Jade that you guys use, and you, Malinda, to some degree. How has some of the graphic design tools and where all that started and where it is now, how has it all helped you guys do your jobs? Is it making it a lot easier? Is it harder? What can you tell us about that?
It's both easier and harder to some degree. I remember the very first like because digital design, even like growing up for me, was still like pretty new. Like in my high school, and granted, it was like a small high school, we didn't have like all the resources that the big high schools did. But like art, from what I knew for the longest time, was always just like painting, drawing, or pottery. It was all very like physical and it was all fine art. And I always knew I wanted to go somewhere in the art area, but I wasn't necessarily really good at the fine art stuff. So I was like, well, what can I like? This is what I want to pursue, but I don't really like drawing, like pottery was like really bad for me. And then I remember one semester, one of the teachers offered a graphic design course. And I was like, hey, like, what is this? Because it was only offered every other semester. So the first time it was offered, I didn't get it, but I got it the next time. And I heard all my classmates talk about how it was really cool. It was different. It was really interesting. So once I got a hold of the pen tool in Illustrator, and once I got it, because there's kind of a learning curve to it, I was like hooked. I was like, yes, this is something that I can do and I can pursue. And I remember, I think we did use an older version of Adobe Illustrator, and looking at the interface, like what it was then to what it is now, it's like very different. It's very different in good ways, because the tools are a lot easier to use. And there's like all these different features, like they're constantly updating the software. So you could spend honestly your entire lifetime just learning one software, because there's so many new things that are coming and changing.
And my background is the opposite, because I did start with fine arts and painting and photography. And when I went to college was just the dawning of email. So we didn't even do any kind of design work on computers. So once I graduated, I had to learn all of that on the job. So I had to learn programs that don't even exist anymore, like PageMaker and Quark. And
Did you
for
use
me,
GIMP?
I had to learn everything on the job, because those tools were never available to me in college, let alone high school, like it is for, Jade's generation of designers.
Right.
I'm just glad we don't have to actually paste up work for presentations anymore, and I don't have to
Yes.
worry about getting cancer from spray mount
Mhm.
anymore.
I cut myself many times with an X-Acto knife.
Right there.
Yep,
on
I
our
got
scar, right on the thumb. Went right down into my thumb. It wasn't good. How much spray adhesive I've inhaled, you don't even want to know.
Technology has really come so far, and it's like crazy now, even with like the different AI tools that there are, like an AI summarizer. I've even started using a couple of times, just like when I have like large copies of text, but I really just need like one or two sentences to summarize it for like a meta description for a website or even a social graphic. Like those tools are like amazing to have. And I think the whole big conversation now is like AI, and AI is coming into like everything. And I think some of it can be very helpful, but some of it is also like not very helpful. For example, in Adobe Stock, which is a stock assets website, they now have AI images in there. And sometimes these AI images aren't that great, but I think because AI is so big right now and companies are really starting to push AI, I think it's almost decreasing the value of certain things, like especially for these images, because, like images of people, like they're pretty good, but they're not quite there yet. You like look at it and you're like, ooh, something's a little wrong here. But honestly, when I search for something in stock images now, it's just like AI everything. And I have to go and manually turn off that button. So, new technology can also be really great, but it also can be not so great sometimes.
Yeah, it's like my AI image on Slack. It kind of looks like me, but it doesn't. We had to say goodbye to Tish because there's actual work. I mean, we're having a lot of fun, but these guys have to go to work. I do too. But Tish, thank you for joining us. But before we go, I love a good success story. So what can you share with our viewers and listeners about how you guys have helped others so far?
Well, one of my favorite things we ever did as a team was the coworker of the day. So when the pandemic came down, we were all sent home, obviously, like everybody else was. And so we were just looking for a way to connect with each other, right? We, as a marketing department, we wanted the whole company to connect with each other, right? So I don't even remember who it was. Somebody came up with the idea of the coworker of the day, but it's not a person, it's pets. It's one of our pets. So everybody, we put the message out on Slack and said, hey, everybody, nominate your pet to be our new coworker of the day, because we were all working from home then. That's your coworker. We probably got 100 people put their pets in. So
yeah,
we put it on social media and we made up little stories for each little pet and how he was bothering his owner, and we didn't make them up. I mean, people told us what the pets do, and we put it in there, and we put all this stuff on social media, put a little tag, Rory's the coworker of the day today, and he's Sam's dog, and talking about the dog. And it was wildly successful. It was wildly, everybody at the company participated. They all started talking back and forth. Oh my God, I didn't know you had a doodle. I have a doodle too. And it was so successful. It actually won an award from the campaign, was submitted to the American Marketing Association in Baltimore, where one of our offices is. And we won an award for social media campaigns for it. Yeah, it just ran April till June in 2020. And we increased our followers, our shares, our reactions, and what it did for our internal morale at that point was just immeasurable. So, and it just all kind of came about organically as far as that goes. And just looking for those creative ways to do stuff. That's how we do stuff. But that's one of my favorite, just spontaneous things we did that again, that internal marketing that worked really well, that we turned into external marketing, because then we put it on social media and then other people saw us doing it. Right. And our clients saw us doing it, and our clients learned more about us and about the people who are working on their accounts and all of that.
Yeah, and it was a great way it was during that time of forced isolation to reach out across the void that we were all operating within, to bring us back, closer as a company. And then also, once you turn that around and present it to the world, you're like, oh, hey, this is working well. People are responding to this and sharing that. It gives people a concrete example of who and what Moser is as a company. We are connected even when we're apart. There's we're the kind of people that are going to reach out and make those connections.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was here for that. And I mean, it was like Brian said, it was just a connecting piece, but it kind of became much more than that, internally, at least for us. I know that externally we had a great reach because it became a really nice thing to see. I don't know if we did on a daily basis or a weekly basis, but it was really fun to see the people interact with those posts and, see ech other's pets. The Moser Instagram was fun. It was a great thing to see.
And it wasn't overly saccharine either.
Right,
a lot of people like, oh, this is my sweetie. And one of mine was, this is my dog Nugget. And my post was about what a grumpy jerk he is.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, ladies, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this week on Ask Anything. For Tish, Jade, Janelle, Malinda, and producer Brian, we certainly appreciate you guys' time. I know that some of you have to go because we have work obligations we have to get to, even though this is a lot of fun. But thank you guys. We had a heck of a time.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of Ask Anything, presented by Moser Consulting. We hope you enjoyed listening to our conversation about marketing and how Moser Consulting can help you with it. Be sure to join us next time as we dive even deeper with our resident experts and explore what they're currently working on. Don't forget to share your ideas or topics with us on our social media feeds. In the meantime, please remember to give us a rating and subscribe to our feed wherever you get your podcasts. Until then, marketing is everything. So long, everybody.
Go.